Welcome to the modern workplace, where today we delve into a compelling question that many companies are beginning to consider. Our topic for discussion is, should child-free individuals receive equivalent paid leave to parents? With us to explore this are Sarah Miller, an HR consultant who advocates for such equivalency, and David Garcia, a small business owner and parent who will present an opposing viewpoint. We anticipate a respectful and insightful discussion. Sarah, let's begin with your opening statement.
Thank you, Alex. Firstly, I want to state clearly that the importance and necessity of robust parental leave are undeniable. It's a cornerstone of a supportive society and workplace. However, my core argument today centers on equity and benefits for all employees. Every individual who contributes their skills and dedication to an organization's success deserves access to comparable support for significant life needs or personal development, regardless of their parental status. When I speak of equivalent leave, I am referring to a policy that would grant a similar duration of paid time off and financial support to child-free employees for substantial, life-altering circumstances. This could include pursuing extended personal development, such as a significant professional qualification or an intensive course, providing dedicated elder care for a family member, taking a sabbatical for burnout prevention or to undertake a major personal project, or even navigating an extended period of bereavement for a close loved one. The benefits of such an inclusive approach are manifold. It would undoubtedly improve overall employee morale, increase loyalty across the board, and serve as a powerful tool for talent attraction and retention. More broadly, it fosters an inclusive company culture that genuinely values all employees and their diverse life paths equally.
Thank you, Alex. And Sarah, I certainly appreciate the principle of fairness that Sarah has highlighted. It's something every responsible employer considers. However, I believe we must emphasize the unique nature and specific purpose of parental leave. It is fundamentally designed to allow parents the critical time needed to care for and bond with a new child, a period characterized by distinct demands and which yields significant societal benefits, such as promoting healthy child development and supporting the well-being of future generations. From a practical standpoint, especially for small to medium-sized enterprises like my own, the financial implications and logistical challenges of offering directly equivalent long-term paid leave to all employees, irrespective of parental status, are considerable and cannot be overlooked. We need to consider the direct costs of covering salaries for extended periods for a potentially larger group of employees, as well as the indirect costs associated with temporary staffing or redistributing workloads among remaining team members. I also suggest that existing leave policies, such as generous annual leave, personal days, and options for unpaid leave or flexible working arrangements, might already cater to many of the significant personal needs of child-free employees. Parental leave, in my view, holds a special, justified status due to its direct link to child-rearing and societal continuity.
David, you raise a valid point about the unique reason for parental leave: the arrival of a new child. I absolutely agree that this is a unique event. However, the fundamental need for a substantial period of dedicated time off work to manage other critical life events or pursue demanding personal growth opportunities is not exclusive to parents. For instance, caring for a terminally ill parent or undertaking a rigorous, career-enhancing certification can be just as consuming and vital for an individual's well-being and future. Regarding the concerns about business costs, I propose viewing this not as an expense, but as a strategic investment in the entire workforce. It's important to remember that not all eligible employees would take such leave simultaneously, and the long-term gains in retention and productivity from a supported, loyal workforce can offset initial outlays. Progressive companies are already beginning to see this type of inclusive benefit as a significant competitive advantage in attracting and retaining top talent. Furthermore, standard annual leave, typically a few weeks, is often demonstrably insufficient for significant undertakings like advanced educational programs, providing extensive caregiving for an elderly or seriously ill parent, or for a necessary recovery period from severe professional burnout.
Sarah, I acknowledge your points about other significant life events. However, I must reiterate that parental leave is intrinsically and uniquely tied to the direct, continuous care of a dependent human being, a child, which is a fundamental societal responsibility that often necessitates and justifies specific state or employer support. This isn't just about time off. It's about fostering an environment where new life can be nurtured. While personal development or elder care are undeniably important, are they truly directly comparable in societal function and urgency to the round-the-clock demands of caring for a newborn or newly adopted child for an extended, formative period? My concern also extends to the practicalities. A broad, equivalent leave policy could become incredibly difficult to define and manage fairly across an organization. What qualifies as a, quote, major personal project or significant course? There's a risk of subjective interpretations and potential inequities in how such leave is granted. I believe the primary focus for employers should be on ensuring robust, well-funded parental leave programs. Beyond that, we should explore more versatile, flexible work options and potentially enhanced compassionate leave policies that benefit all employees, rather than attempting to create a blanket identical leave provision that mirrors parental leave in scope and duration.
Thank you both for those rebuttals. Sarah, David has voiced significant concerns about the financial viability of such schemes and the potential for an overly broad interpretation of qualifying reasons for leave. How would you propose defining the specific criteria for this, quote, equivalent leave to ensure it's both manageable for businesses and clearly distinct from regular vacation time, while still genuinely being, quote, equivalent in value to parental leave?
That's a crucial point, Alex. The key lies in establishing clear, objective, and transparent policy definitions. For example, leave could be approved for participation in accredited educational programs that require a substantial time commitment, say, lasting more than 6 weeks full-time. Another criterion could be documented primary caregiving responsibilities for a seriously ill family member, perhaps certified by a medical professional, mirroring the kind of documentation often required for other types of compassionate leave, but for a longer duration. We could also define structured sabbatical plans with pre-agreed objectives and outcomes, reviewed and approved by management, focusing on professional rejuvenation or significant skill development. It's essential that this leave is for significant, pre-approved circumstances that go far beyond standard paid time off and not simply an extension of vacation. The equivalency would be in the opportunity for extended, paid time away from work for life-defining needs or goals, not necessarily in the day-to-day experience of the leave itself.
David, Sarah suggests that clear criteria could mitigate some of your concerns regarding manageability. However, even with such criteria in place, the cumulative effect of more employees potentially taking extended periods of leave could still be substantial for a business. Beyond the direct financial costs, what are some of the other operational impacts that particularly concern you as a business owner? And, looking at the other side, are there any specific scenarios or industries where you could perhaps see a net benefit to your business from adopting a more generous, inclusive leave policy of this nature?
Operationally, the challenges are numerous. Backfilling highly skilled roles for several months is difficult and costly, often requiring temporary staff who need time to get up to speed, or placing extra burdens on existing team members, which can impact their morale and productivity. There's also the issue of maintaining project continuity and client service standards when key personnel are absent for extended periods. For smaller businesses, the absence of even one key employee can have a disproportionate impact on operations. I might concede that in very highly skilled, intensely competitive sectors, such as specialized tech or research, offering an exceptionally generous and inclusive leave package could potentially act as a strong magnet for attracting scarce talent, giving the company an edge. However, for the vast majority of SMEs, the inherent risks and complexities in managing these extended absences, along with the associated costs, remain a very significant barrier. The potential for disruption often outweighs the theoretical benefits.
This brings us to a practical middle ground, perhaps. A question for both of you. If not full equivalency in the duration and structure of paid leave, what alternative approaches or compromises could effectively bridge the gap and genuinely acknowledge the diverse life needs of child-free employees without replicating parental leave entirely?
If identical duration isn't feasible across the board, then perhaps a substantial dedicated block of personal life leave could be considered. This would still need to be significantly more generous than standard paid time off, perhaps 4 to 6 weeks, and be usable in flexible ways for pre-approved significant life events or development opportunities.
From my perspective, a more pragmatic approach would involve enhancing options for unpaid or partially paid sabbaticals with clear guidelines and job protection. We could also focus on promoting more flexible utilization of existing paid time off, perhaps allowing employees to bank more leave or use it in larger, consolidated blocks for specific needs, rather than creating an entirely new category of long-term paid leave that aims to be equivalent to parental leave.
To summarize my position, the arguments for providing more equitable leave benefits, including options comparable to parental leave for child-free employees, are rooted in fundamental principles of fairness, equity, and an understanding of the evolving needs of the modern workforce. Employees today, regardless of whether they have children, face a multitude of significant life events and personal development goals that may require extended time away from work. Providing equivalent leave demonstrates unequivocally that a company values all its employees, their diverse life paths, and their varied responsibilities equally. The long-term benefits of such an inclusive approach are substantial. It fosters a more engaged, loyal, and well-rounded workforce, contributes to reducing employee burnout, and significantly enhances an employer's brand as a progressive and supportive place to work. I urge businesses to be forward-thinking, to look beyond traditional benefit structures, and to adapt their policies to reflect a more holistic and inclusive understanding of employee well-being and critical life needs. This is an investment in human capital that will pay dividends.
In closing, I want to reiterate the distinct and absolutely crucial nature of parental leave. It exists to support the well-being of children and the fundamental societal unit of the family, and its importance cannot be overstated. While I fully acknowledge the validity and importance of supporting all employees through various life challenges and aspirations, I maintain that a direct, one-to-one equivalency with parental leave in terms of duration and financial support might not be the most practical or effective solution for many businesses, particularly SMEs. We must be cautious about implementing policies that could place undue financial and operational burdens on businesses. Such pressures could, paradoxically, harm overall employment opportunities or even impact a business's long-term sustainability, which helps no one. Therefore, I conclude by advocating for continued strong, dedicated parental support as a clear priority. This should be complemented by a robust suite of other flexible benefits, compassionate leave options, and perhaps enhanced unpaid leave opportunities that cater to a broad range of employee needs without necessarily mirroring the specific structure and extensive scope of parental leave.
Thank you both, Sarah Miller and David Garcia, for your thoughtful, articulate, and passionate arguments on this complex topic. You've given us a great deal to consider. Today's discussion has clearly highlighted the core tension, the compelling push for equitable benefits that recognize the diverse needs of all employees versus the unique considerations, societal importance, and traditional understanding surrounding parental leave. We encourage our audience to reflect on the various perspectives shared today and the complexities involved in designing workplace policies that are both fair and practical in today's evolving world. Thank you for joining us on The Modern Workplace. Good afternoon.